Good morning, Mark. How are you today?
Fiona, good morning. I'm very well, thank you. Yes, how are you?
Yeah, very good, thank you. It's a lovely sunny day, isn't it? Good to catch up with you this morning, Mark. And as we've just discussed, thank you so much for your time. We've known each other for many years, but of course, mainly from your days at the Caterer.
Yes, I was at the Caterer for about 14 years. I think I was managing editor and then latterly publisher. So I had a range of roles and really enjoyed my time there. But I was a trustee of Hospitality Action for about 10 of those 14 years. So always had a very strong link with the charity, and so does the Caterer as a whole. HA is about 182 years old, and I think the Caterer is celebrating 140 years this year. So the two organisations and the two brands have always been close for well over a century. So yeah, enjoyed my time at the Caterer, and as you said, that's when we met. But now really enjoying the challenge at Hospitality Action.
And of course that links in very nicely, doesn't it? So at the moment, I mean, Hospitality Action is just such an incredible charity, isn't it? I know you're involved in so much, Mark, but maybe just give us a bit of an idea about the sorts of things that Hospitality in Action are doing at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So Hospitality Action in normal times is a charity to help people who work or have worked in hospitality and find themselves in difficulty or crisis. And I stress the work and have worked. We're not just here for people who are currently working in the industry. We help retirees, we help people who've moved on to other industry sectors, but have given 5 years or more of their career to hospitality. So we help people across the industry, Michelin starred, casual dining, budget hotels, five-star hotels, and we help them with a range of the sorts of issues that affect the human condition, mostly around poverty, physical and mental health. But if you imagine all the other things that can affect a human being, chances are we're helping somebody in a calendar year with that issue. So that's in normal times. Obviously, these aren't normal times. So back in late March, when the lockdown was announced, we decided that it would be a good idea to set up an emergency appeal to drive funds for us to disperse immediately to people who were impacted financially by the lockdown. So that's what we've been doing for the last 6 weeks or so. We're proud to say that we've raised just over £500,000 now, which is fabulous, and we've spent about £450,000 of that. So we've been helping families with grants of £250 at a time. So we're not giving them long-term support. That's not our position, but we're just helping people at the moment while they wait for following money or universal credit or some clarity on what happens next in their career with a £250 grant that just helps them put food on the table for their families.
Yeah. Thank you, Mark. I mean, Mark, what sort of things, and you know, many people in our wonderful industry get involved with what you do at Hospitality Action. But at the moment, what are the key things that we can do? I know you and I just talked about Golden Friends and so on, but what sort of things are we best to do? What would be most helpful for you at the moment?
Yeah, I guess there's two things really. Firstly, and obviously we need money to spend money, we need to make money. So we're doing all we can to fundraise at the moment. And I think as the world starts to wake up and as hospitality does slowly but surely start to open the shutters and open for business again, we will be asking the industry to support us. And the plan is to do that through third-party fundraising initiatives. So could a burger chain put 50p on a signature burger for us? Could a hotel put £1 on every bill for us? So we'll be having conversations around the industry to see whether we can secure as much of that support as possible. And then I guess it's about promotion and amplification. We're proud of the charity. We know that when people understand what HA is, what it does, they fall in love with it because we're a force for good, but not enough people know that we exist. That's changed discernibly in the last 7 or 8 weeks, but we still want to keep on building the brand. So, as well as donations and getting involved, I'd ask people just to help with promotion on social media, retweeting, liking, all that stuff, all that great stuff that helps more people get exposed to our brand.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Mark. And Mark, obviously you speak to many people in the industry. What sort of things are people saying to you? I mean, obviously we're now looking like it might be July, isn't it? Beginning of July to be able to reopen. We know that some restaurants are doing takeaway. I know Angela is definitely doing that in Bermondsey at the moment, takeaway and delivery. But what sort of things are you hearing that people are doing in our industry? Are most people keeping closed? Are people trying to slightly open? What are you hearing from the people you speak to?
I'm hearing a bit of both, to be honest. I think some are really holding the line and saying there's no point in opening just yet because we're going to be offering a compromised product to our customers. People are also worried about the health aspects for customers and employees and teams. So some people are thinking, let's just not go back until we really can do it in some meaningful way. I think others just want to get involved again with the industry in any shape or form. And you'll have seen examples of restaurants that have become shops and offering takeaway food or even delivering Sunday lunches. There's great stuff going on. So I think people are finding their own route through this crisis, and there's no one size fits all. I think you have to just find what works for your business. There's no doubt it's going to be really, really tough in the coming months and years. And I think some people are saying you need to innovate, and if you innovate, you will weather the storm, you will ride the storm. And I think that's fine, but I think it's a bit glib to say innovate and you'll be fine. We need people to come back. We need bums on seats. We need footfall. And we know that restaurants are now, to their horror, working out how many tables they need to take out in order to be in line with social distancing rules. So it's going to be really tough. And I think we'll need to see the support of the wider public coming in. They won't be receiving the sort of hospitality experience that they're used to receiving. But hopefully they will understand that the industry is just doing the best it can to accommodate guests and customers.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you say, I think the innovation will come when we look at how we do serve those guests and those customers, isn't it? And the way we do that and the type of service we offer, isn't it? Definitely. I mean, obviously it was announced yesterday the furlough scheme is being extended. Again, what are you hearing from people about that? Do you think that restaurateurs and hoteliers are happy that that's happening?
Yes, I think it's good news. It's guarded good news. I think they're still very aware of this yawning gap at the end of furloughing, where who knows what will happen. Maybe it'll be extended again, but we can't expect the government to extend ad infinitum. So at some point in time, there'll be a point where they need to decide: can we now take on that burden, that financial burden of paying for teams? And I hope I hope as many businesses as possible find a way. My fear is that there will be a great consolidation across the industry, and that inevitably a lot of businesses will go to the wall. And we've seen some of that already. I think that's inevitable, but let's just hope we can keep as many going as we can.
And as far as hospitality action, what do you think you might end up doing more of them, Mark, when it comes to that? You know, are you very much helping people to get through this? And also, I suppose, eventually then looking at jobs and what they can do and what else is out there. Is that the sort of the next step, probably?
Yeah, I think there's two things we'll be doing. So we'll be continuing to help with grants, and that will be for things that are nothing to do with COVID-19. So somebody might have a life-changing illness and need adaptations at home. So we'll be doing that sort of work, the work we've always done. But inevitably, we know that there'll be a lot more call upon us from people who have issues around poverty relating to COVID-19. We'll do the very best we can. We can only spend as much as we earn, and we're not a huge charity. The government ultimately is the organisation or the body that is responsible for keeping us alive and well. But we'll do our very best from the financial perspective. And then I guess also from the mental health perspective, we're going to work hard as well to support the industry. We know that there is a prevalence of mental health issues around hospitality anyway in good times. And I think at the moment that's become exacerbated further. People who are used to working in hospitality, they love being around people, they love being in their restaurant or the hotel. It's their vocation, it's their passion. Suddenly they're at home, not quite sure what to do with themselves. So we hear a lot of stories from chefs, hoteliers, restaurateurs saying, I'm going a bit gaga here, this is driving me nuts. We know that it's having, in some instances, a knock-on effect on relationships and the family unit. And of course, sadly, increasingly, as the number of people who are dying from the pandemic increases, so more people around hospitality are suffering from bereavement. So we're working hard to work up fact sheets and video content, digital assets that people can use to hopefully manage their own mental wellness.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And of course, you have a great employee assistance program, don't you, which has been going for a while now. I know when I met up with Nicola a few months ago, she was telling me a little bit more about that. So does that links with what you've just been saying, isn't it, really?
Absolutely. So the EAP Employee Assistance Program is a program that we launched about 8 years ago. It's a paid-for service, and we think it's best in breed, best in class. It's basically a suite of benefits, guidance, advice, counselling opportunities, fact sheets, which an employer can buy into on behalf of their employee base. And we think it offers great value. The idea is that it's nipping problems in the bud before they become acute. So it's all about keeping a workforce happy, healthy, and productive. So by buying into this opportunity to take advantage of this package of benefits, an employer is saying, I want you to have the opportunity to solve your own problems, to seek guidance and counselling when you think you've got an issue growing, and thereby stop issues becoming acute. Because of course, when an issue becomes acute, A, it's no good for the person themselves, but B, it means they're out of the business. So that's the sort of the thinking behind the EAP. And as you said, at the moment, it's more important than ever that people look out for their teams, because of the reasons I just gave. Mental wellness is taking a bit of a hit at the moment, and employers need to know that as soon as they can open the doors, they've got a happy and healthy team that's ready to go.
Thank you, Mark. And obviously you hear a lot of stories every day. We were chatting at the beginning, weren't we, about how we're all in contact with our lovely colleagues in the industry, and we're hearing all the stories. What are you doing to make sure you keep yourself positive, Mark? What sort of stuff do you do? You're obviously working from home by the looks of it there, and I'm going to ask you more about your menus in a moment, but what are you doing every day to keep your energy and keep your positive mindset?
Yeah, I think it's about sharing success and communicating. I think that those are the two things we're really focusing on. So we've got a lot of Zoom calls going on, as has the rest of the world. And that's at a head of department level, but also departmental level. So people are regularly in touch with their managers. I send out a note every evening to the team via email, just updating them on what's happened today, celebrating success. We're getting lovely feedback from people who've had grants from us, so we share some of those just to make sure that people are aware of all the good we're doing. I think it can be very difficult to work alone at home. You can quickly feel very remote from what you're doing, what we're doing as a charity, and from your teammates. So I'm making us sure as possible that everybody knows what we're doing and how we're progressing. I think it's a time of great disconcertment to many people. So I'm just trying to be as clear as possible with people as to what I think the future holds. And I think, to be honest, the future from a hospitality perspective is very positive. I think the industry is helping us more than ever before, as are the general public. And that means that, we will continue to do the great work we do. But I think it's important that I'm in touch regularly with the team, particularly as issues like furloughing and returning to work come into play. I think on Sunday we were all slightly head scratching and confused as to what we could and couldn't do from Wednesday onwards. So I think at that point it's important that you have a party line and that you give that clarity and reassurance to the team that you're not about to force them to jump onto a crowded train to go back into work.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you're leading your team in that kind of way then, Mark, isn't it, to keep them motivated as well? It's something I've been asking everybody with the Storm Pods. When we go back to, I know we're saying this new norm, when we go back to whatever that looks like, what are you most missing, Mark? What are you really looking forward to going back to do?
In terms of the office and the job of work, or in terms of life generally? Or?
Life generally, please, Mark. Yes, life generally. What are you missing and what are you looking forward to doing?
Well, I'm looking forward to being back in the office and seeing colleagues. We just had quite a major refurb of the office, and it finished about 3 days before the lockdown began. And for various reasons, I wasn't in for the last couple of days anyway. So I've not seen the new office. So I'm looking forward to seeing that in all its glory and seeing the team again, catching up, swapping stories. Looking forward to a pint at the Three Compasses in Farringdon at the end of that first day back. And then, like everybody, just keen to get out and enjoy lovely meals out and support. I live in Crystal Palace and I look forward to supporting our local restaurateurs. And yeah, just getting back into hospitality businesses in whatever shape or form that looks like.
Definitely. You know, we work with the Zeta Group. You've got to go to the Zeta Townhouse and the Zeta Hotel and go and have some delicious food and cocktails as well.
Well, do you know what? We're about 1 minute from the Zeta. We're just across the road on Britton Street, and they're very kind to us. They're very helpful when we need meeting space, that sort of thing. So yeah, we know them well. They're good friends, and yeah, good call. Yeah, I'm sure we will be doing that sooner rather
Definitely
than
do that,
later.
Mark. Absolutely. So I've got to ask you. We were having a bit of a laugh, weren't we, Mark, about people having books behind them. You've got menus behind you, so please tell me what you have behind you there.
Yeah, I think I've got a selection looking over my shoulder or looking into the screen. I've got a selection of menus from really, really wonderful once in a lifetime events that I was lucky enough to be at. I was invited by Michelle Roux Senior, who sadly we lost recently, to a celebration, or one of the celebrations for the 30th year with 3 stars at the Waterside Inn, and that was unbelievable. So I think one of the framed menus is from that event. Another event was, I think, 25 years of Le Manoir, which again I was very lucky to be invited along to by Raymond. And then I think the two pieces of paper with the big red stamps on them. I don't know if you know Vic Laws, but Vic will be very pleased to know that that's the notification that my wife and I did a sabrage once, so we know how to lop the head off a bottle of champagne with a saber.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, it's the irony, isn't it? My very first dining experience was at the Waterside Inn, and then I never looked back since. You know, I knew that was the industry for me, definitely.
Yeah.
Mark, thank you so much for your time. Two last things. First of all, we're asking everybody who's been doing a Storm Pod to nominate their charity. I think we can all guess which charity you're going to nominate, but just tell us just in case.
Yes, you won't be surprised to hear that it's Hospitality Action. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. And then finally, before I just say a massive thank you to you for your time today, any final words, sort of inspirational, positive words that you'd say to our wonderful industry out there? Anything in particular you'd like to say to them?
Yeah, I think as Captain Tom was prone to say, you know, life will come back. That things will improve. We don't know how long it's going to take, and nobody can promise that all the jobs that were there will be there in future. I fear not. But people are missing hospitality very keenly. Whenever people donate, we have a reason for giving on the form they fill in. And we've got thousands of wonderful messages from people saying, I had no idea until the lockdown how much I loved hospitality and what a big part of my life it plays. People live their lives in hospitality. You meet your partner, you have your first drink with your life partner, you hold your weddings at a hotel, you hold wakes at pubs or restaurants. It's where we live our lives, and I think people are missing the industry very keenly. So I guess that's a positive message for me, that the great British public is itching to get back into hospitality insofar as it can. And I guess also people have challenged themselves. I think that's been really positive in the last few months. People are finding new ways of working. They're finding new ways of being philanthropic and supporting their community. And I think that will continue. So yeah, the public will come back. We will reopen in some shape or form, and we'll continue to innovate.
Mark, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure everybody will really enjoy listening to this Storm Pod. So Mark Lewis, thank you so much.
Thanks, Fiona. I enjoyed it.